All good. Let's do it. Okay. Without further ado, because I know I've made you guys wait long enough already, I'm live with some very amazing people up here. So we've got a couple of people. We'll go through introductions, but since we started a little bit late, I want to get this going right away. It has been a while probably since any of you guys have seen my face on screen. You've probably seen Coop's a little bit. You know, his beautiful face is easy to point out. And a couple others with me are definitely well known in the space, but I'm Guru. And I'm very excited today to be here with a bunch of amazing people. And of course, excited to be doing this on behalf of the Earn Alliance team. We are doing our very first live show. We are coming to you from all around the world. I myself am based in Asia. I know Coop is as well. I'll let everybody else let you know where they're based in. But today we are going to be talking about monetization and all sorts of challenges that we have in general, as well as opportunities in monetizing Web3 games and whatever else the conversation brings up. So enough of me. I want to pass it over really quickly to Coop, who is the man, the myth, the legend himself. Give us a really quick introduction, Coop, and then we're going to go through the list here, and we're going to hear from these wonderful ladies, and of course, this handsome young man down here as well. So take it away, Coop. Tell us a little bit about you, and I guess what you do, for anybody who doesn't know.
Yeah, quick intro. Founder of Earn Alliance. Name's Coop. Started modding games when I was young, 9 years old. Found my passion in programming and connected with a bunch of awesome people over the internet over that time. Fast forward, built 5 different game companies. Earn Alliance is my 5th one, and done everything but console gaming is my experience. No longer programming, I miss it. But right now, running an awesome team, building great things for the Web3 industry.
Fantastic. And then next, we're going to pass it over to Erica. Erica, if you want to do an introduction, and then we'll go over to Pichapen, and then finally with Gaspode, last but certainly not least.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Erica, and I am based in the United States. I'm in Texas, and I've been in blockchain gaming for a while, since the end of 2021. I have hosted a space all of 2022. I currently do a live stream show. I do streaming, content creation. I work with the people that you see up here. And so I absolutely love blockchain gaming. And I'm really, really excited to be ambassador for Earn Alliance. It's really nice to meet everybody that I haven't met so far.
So nice to meet you, by the way, Erica. I've definitely seen your content around, so it's nice to finally chat. Pichapen, if you want to take it away, want to hear a little bit about you. I think I've actually got a chance to meet you at Token 2049, but other than that, carry away. I want to hear more about you and what you do.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me here. My name is Pichapen. I'm from Thailand. There's a few things I'm doing right now for the space. I've been in the space since 2016, I think. Done quite a bit of things here, but I think my true passions really lies in blockchain gaming. So I work for a few gaming companies as well, but recently I found Web3 Yellow Pages platform, and while doing so, I've come across with a lot of exciting communities around gaming. So we have actually 2 separate products. One is the Web3 Yellow Pages platform, and then the other one is Guild of Guilds. So we work closely with guilds and DAOs in 4 different continents. In my free times, I also play a lot of games, and I have a Twitch channel called Totally Uninformed Gamers, which is basically I'm a total noob, so I explore different games. Yeah.
That's awesome. And yeah, wow, you've been here since 2016. That's incredible. So this is your 2nd cycle down. How's this one feel? A little bit better, a little bit worse than the last one? Any thoughts on that?
More tolerant. Yeah, I mean, it's been interesting, but I mean, I think that like all of us, there's new things to learn every day.
Yeah, of course, I agree. All right, and Gaspode, I know I've had a chance to chat with you on and off for quite a while, but I'd love to hear your introduction and hear what you've been up to. I know you're still doing content, so tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, so been in the space since it's about 18, 20 months at this point. Started off doing content on Twitch because I wasn't very good at a game. Continued not being good at games, but now I'm not good at a lot of games, and kind of just aim to introduce as many games as I can. I do all my content now under a banner of Watch Your Game, which is my cornerstone space, which has been going on for 66 episodes weekly, introducing games. And across that, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, written reviews, I've covered over 200 crypto games at this point, and I'm excited to cover some more.
Nice. That's quite a bit. I guess, you know what? A lot of people who try to say that there are no games in Web3 really have not taken the time to try and explore some of the content of the people who explore the many games in Web3. Now, I'm not saying they're all good. Don't get me wrong, but I am saying there is a lot of them, and there are a lot of opportunities to go through and explore them. But you know what? I actually really, really appreciate it. I've seen definitely a lot of your written content, Gaspode, so it's a pleasure to have you up here. And I know Erica had mentioned it before, but I do, of course, want to just mention it to anybody who's listening. I do want to let you guys all know the official introduction here is that every single one of these amazing creators and just in general thought leaders is now going to be working on behalf of Earn Alliance as an ambassador, helping to push what Earn Alliance is doing a little bit further out to the demographics around the world. So there's a lot of people here. Of course, we've got Erica, who's based in Texas. We've got Pichapen as well, who's based in Thailand. And then I know, for anybody who might not be able to pick up the accent, I know Gaspode's a little bit in between that. So we have a lot of reach here, and I'm really excited to see what you guys are going to, and not just excited to see, but excited to be doing things with you guys, because for the longest time, it's kind of just been me and Coop up here with our faces on here. Now we have so many more beautiful faces. So thank you. Thank you guys for joining us. Okay, so without further ado, let's just get started, because I want to hear some of your thoughts on some of the topics that we have in here. And I know everybody listening would like to hear as well. And for all you people listening, I know it's not a Twitter space, but I got to hit you with the exact same thing I always do. Show us some love. Make sure you throw a like on the video. You can do it. It is a live video. Repost it as well to get a few more eyes on it, because we're going to be going over a lot of really exciting topics today. And if you have a question, feel free to throw it down in the comments as well. I will be looking. There isn't anything, going on too crazy about the questions anymore, but there are a lot of opportunities to get these amazing individuals to answer your questions. So let's jump into it. I actually want to talk a little bit, and I know for the people who are newer ambassadors here, this might not be as much for you to talk about, but I'd love to hear your comments on it. I want to talk about some of the things that are happening in Earn Alliance. And for this, Coop, I'm going to throw it over to you. I know you're just sitting there waiting to talk about this, because we have a lot of exciting things happening. So let's talk about everything that's going on in Earn Alliance. Coop, there is so much. I can talk about Last Remains, but I want you to take it away for Earn Alliance. We got a big Christmas event coming up, and I'm going to let you talk about it because I don't want to say anything I shouldn't, but tell us all about the Christmas festivities, the events that are coming up, and maybe a bit about the advent calendar.
Yeah, sure. So Christmas is coming. I finished my turkey last week. I am American as well, originally from California, and I'm still eating turkey 4 days later. Hopefully it'll be gone tomorrow. But long story short is now Christmas is coming, and we have a special gift. We're calling it Minter Winter, and there's several games that are going to be working with us and doing drops for not only NFTs, but there will also be different ways that you can explore and learn about how to use Earn Alliance as a tool or as a discoverability platform, or connect with your next favorite game. So bunch of cool stuff coming out. There's going to be an advent calendar, which I learned about advent calendars this year. I just think, so I was just like, what's going on? Where's the damn chocolate? So it's the same thing as a chocolate calendar for the people that are like me. You have 20 different days that every day you come to Earn Alliance, and within them, there'll be a little task, give a little love to the Web3 game industry, and you'll get something better than chocolate.
Fantastic. I like that. And honestly, I never knew those were called advent calendars. I'm going to be completely honest. I always thought they were just chocolate calendars. I guess you learn something new every single day here. But I'm really excited to see what happens on that one. I'm also excited to tell you guys a little bit more about what's going on the Last Remains side, because we have a lot happening. Coop, if I miss anything, feel free to jump on top. But we have tons happening with Last Remains. So if you guys have not seen yet, we just had a huge community game night just the other day, and we were testing out a couple of big things. First off, big optimization patch, which means we have now further optimized Last Remains to be playable on lower spec machines. I know it took us a while, but we were building a lot. Then you have to refine it afterwards. So we appreciate your patience, and we're still getting better with the optimization. Expect more optimization updates to come, but this one was a big one. We even got our tried and true community manager, who is somebody we've wanted to see play the game forever, but he's never had a computer able to play it, finally playing. Now, his performance, questionable. I love you, Jose, but questionable. However, the computer performance for the game, much better. And beyond that, too, we also have our official early access coming later this month. So again, we'll talk a little bit more about it, but we have huge public early access that's going to be launching on Last Remains. It is going to be open to the public. I know you guys have been asking for this for a very long time, for you to come play the game, come try it out, come get eaten by zombies, and also come loot some awesome equipment to be able to actually own it and be able to trade it on the marketplace. So this is a really big step for us. We've been working on for a long time, and I know I'm just as excited, if not probably you're more excited than me even, Coop, to see this come to fruition. So lots happening with Last Remains and top of it, but I think those are the major things coming.
Yep. I think you pretty much got it. I won't add too much hype on it.
Okay, fantastic. And I guess the last thing, which is a little bit more of just a small thing, is challenges. So challenges are coming as well. Coop, I don't know how much you want to talk about that. Maybe just take it away and talk a bit about challenges, and then we'll go from there.
Definitely. I'll try to make it quick. So challenges is the next layer of an alliance. We've been trying to figure out how could we help the Web3 game industry. And just to give you guys like the thesis and all this, games, not just Web3 games, but Web2 games, and some of the previous companies that I used to work with spent $15 to $20 million a month on user acquisition. So that's still happening today. It's extremely expensive. And then the sad thing is, like, once you acquire a user and they show up, there's a very big chance that they're not going to stick around. So you just pay millions of dollars. Half of them went out the door. They call it the leaky bucket. And it's something that just pisses me off in this industry, and just, ads and, acquiring users in general. So what did we want to do? So what we wanted to do is, instead of just doing NFT launches, which you work all this time, you pump it up, you could be a free mint, a paid mint, weeks, months go into it, and then it sells out in seconds. I don't know. It's fun, but it disappears. What happens? And we've been getting kind of tired of like doing all that work and integrating and then having one event. We asked ourselves, what if we can integrate once and have an unlimited amount of events? And that's where daily challenges came to be, where every day there will be a different challenge where you can win a prize if you complete it. And these challenges are not easy. There's a very high chance that you will suck and you'll lose, but at least you can go explore new games and try to do a challenge. It will be open to everybody, and it will be in a way that you don't have to be an advanced user. You can just jump right in and play a challenge. You play off of our platform. You can go play on over 10 games, hopefully by the time that this goes live, and it's coming out very soon. So I'm pretty excited about it, and it's going to be daily entertainment.
Thanks, Coop. I know we've been talking ourselves off here. I know this may be new news for anybody else who's on the call, but if there are any thoughts, and I just want to put this out there as well, that I'm very, very happy to get other people's opinions. If you do not know, you can press the reaction button on Zoom, and you can actually raise your hand. So if you have anything you want to say at any point in time, and I know, Gaspode, you're such a gentleman, you're probably going to raise your hand right away to throw an opinion in, you can feel free to do that, and I will send it over to you to share your thoughts on this. So other than that, though, if you guys are just hearing this for the first time, would love to hear some of your thoughts. First thing I want to know is, I don't think I've seen any of you guys play Last Remains. So when are we getting you in to come play Last Remains? I want to see you all get eaten by zombies.
I can't wait to play too. I've seen a lot of I've seen gameplay of it. It just, the timing did not work, since it's, you're testing and you have that short window. So it didn't work out, but I'm hoping to play it the next one. We'll have to coordinate a time that works for me, no, just kidding. But no, the challenges, I love the challenges. I think that's a fantastic way for people to discover new games and get in there and try them out and see what they like, what they don't like. And yeah, I absolutely love that.
We'll get you in, Erica. I promise. CST is not too hard for me to accommodate for, so we'll make it happen.
Okay.
Now, to accommodate for CST, for Thailand, and for some, we're going to have to do this separated, I promise. We won't be able to have everybody in at any point, every single time. But, okay, let's get some opinions going. I know I talked a lot. I want to hear other people's opinions on things. Let's just jump right into the topics, guys. So I actually want to start this off with a general topic, and feel free to share some thoughts on it, even just bring up some examples here. But I want to talk about Web3 monetization models because I think a lot of people look at it and it's a little bit disassociated with traditional Web3 PFP, NFT projects, and people seem to think that this is just very much some people call it Ponzi's, let's not be wrong about that, some of them are, but other people look at them as though it has a lot of trouble communicating value just in a traditional NFT, but when applied to gaming, people tend to start to understand a little bit more, okay, maybe this can be tied with some standard consumer economics, and it can make a little bit more sense. You don't always have to have it be the money going in is that minimum amount of money in the economy that eventually has to come from new users in order to come out to old users. You actually get people coming in to utilize the product, right? So lots of thoughts up on here, but I want to talk monetization. And actually, Gaspode, I know this is something you've talked about a little bit. I'd really like to hear your opinion on what you personally think some of the unique monetization models in Web3 are, potentially beyond just sell NFTs to users to fund your game and never deliver a game. So take it.
Yeah, I think hopefully I'm coming through all right. Yeah, I think one of the biggest problems is that because crypto is so related to scams and extraction of money, that people are surprised when projects are trying to make money. And a lot of the time, the games that become popular to have that monetization are ones that are very heavily focused on the player. And if everyone's going to earn, then no one's going to earn eventually because it has to be Ponzi. There's no way that that money is actually coming into circulation. I think what we need to see more of, and I think we are already seeing more of, are the more traditional monetization. Maybe don't go as far as some of the mobile games, which get pretty predatory, but at least throw in some aspects in there to monetize from players. And you want to have it that some players are more than happy to spend, and like happy to spend a lot. And if you're offering money as kind of the play to earn, and I think play to earn will work, it just can't work for everyone. I think it can only, if anything, work for a minority of the players. And for that to work, you need people who are so invested, not through money, but eventually through money, but in terms of enjoyment, that they are happy to spend $50, $100 on a skin that might not even do anything for them in game, but someone else has had to find that skin. And I think that's where you come to the point of whether it's the studio selling the items or whether it's the players selling the items. If you have it that the studio selling the items, you risk it being infinite and you risk having problems. So I've tagged one recently. I'm not going to name them on this just in case it causes a fight, but the studio's still selling the items and they're doing a sale. Well, everyone who's already bought that and maybe trading it on the market has just had to eat that sale cost. So that causes difficulties for them. Difficulties if it's all player earned, which I do think is the best way of doing it, is how does the studio then make money? How do they actually recoup something to make a profit and keep the game going? And I think that's where they have to look at maybe different monetization streams, maybe battle passes which aren't tradable, and all that money goes straight to the studio. And I think it's understanding that you need the majority of your players to want to spend money, not earn money. And that's the only way it will be sustainable. And that's what you already kind of see in a lot of the mobile games, that a lot of people get to play for free, while a lot of people are supporting the project by paying a lot. If some of those free people now get some money that the studio's putting back into the system, great, but it can't be too many, or else you're putting too much of a load on those people having to spend.
Well said, very well said. And as somebody who plays, not Genshin, I play a different Honkai game, I know all well about freemium models and the whales supporting it. We have a saying, actually, we say whenever we see somebody spending that kind of money and posting about it online, we thank them for keeping the servers active. And I think it's a very similar dynamic with Web3, but I also think that it's a lot, there's a lot more opportunity there, right? I think that's the one thing that this brings up is you mentioned battle passes. That's something we're exploring. I think there's a lot of opportunity there. I would love to hear maybe if anybody has any opinions potentially on examples of things you think are working well. Maybe, I know Gaspode mentioned a game that isn't doing very well, and I saw that post, by the way. Maybe, I don't know if Erica or Pichapen, you guys have any thoughts on the other side, maybe another model that's working, maybe another issue, or potentially a success story. Would love to hear from you as well.
I mean, for me, I think like Gaspode is basically like touch all the points I wanted to mention already as well. Like we see a lot of upcoming games that are offering free to play first, because I feel like in the last cycle where the games have been introduced, they're kind of like very gated, and that's like kind of eliminate the part where players can feel more invested in the games in terms of like, I really like this game, I really enjoy this game, because you have to invest first. And so like I'm more excited because I see that the free to play model will then bring these opportunities for people to discover games that will have like different opportunities, or offer different opportunities in different way for people, not just to earn but also to engage in different ways. But yeah, I mean, like in terms of the opportunities for monetization, I think you touched all the points I wanted to mention already.
Take it away, Erica.
Let me unmute first before I talk. I think those are fantastic points, Gaspode. I also would like to say games that have actual economies, I think, are going to do very, very well, such as something like Sunflower Lands, or even Pixels, something where you can actually buy some seeds, right? You can plant them in the ground, and then you can sell them to get other items. Like in Sunflower Lands, for example, I've played that quite a bit. Like you can actually sell your sunflowers to little goblins, and you can earn a little bit from there, or you can get some rare items and you can actually sell them on OpenSea. And so I think that anytime you have that sort of like a real economy, I think that they do very well. And there's a lot of potential. But I do agree with Gaspode. It's it's got to be, it can't be like all of the games are not going to be able to make it. It's gonna be games who just find that very, very small sweet spot.
Yes, Bob, I know you got some response. I'd love to hear it.
I know I'm going to try and be positive, Peter, rather than negative Nancy all the time. So I definitely agree. Some of what Sunflower Land can help, I think we've seen similar across other games where there's a tax for removing stuff out of the game. And that means that it is more valuable, literally more valuable to you in game to try and stop people taking it out, so that you actually utilize it within game. I think games where they make it more valuable from an enjoyment point of view, like some of the freemium models you see, like you get extra energy, you get to boost things, you get to do things quicker. I think that will make it difficult for people to actually have a tough decision about whether they are taking something out of the game. And we're seeing that a bit in some of the mobile games popping off. The games I think that will do the best out of it are games that aren't anywhere near developed yet. I think MMOs will have the best one, especially ones with limited skill sets. So you end up with almost a real world stream of economy. So someone can mine, but they don't have the skill sets to do something with that ore. Someone who can do something with the ore doesn't have the skill sets to become a blacksmith. And actually setting up full length economies is where it will kind of come through from. Did you hear that? Because my mic wasn't actually on, so I don't know where you're hearing me from, if you're nodding.
Magic.
I can hear it. I can hear it.
We planted something in your room not that long ago.
Yep.
So
yeah, we did. Don't worry about it. We got another angle. I think you're using a different mic, but you sound so clean. I mean, it's still a good quality mic, whatever you're using.
Yeah,
I think Zoom might have a different one. Click on the mute button, like on the arrow, and you can make sure it has the right mic. Guys, incoming audio quality change for Gaspode, by the way. You can try it out if you want. But I want to jump in here and mention something too. And then maybe, Coop, you can mention something as well about economies. I think you bring up a really good point. Games that have economies. I think this is a really important thing. Not every game, I think, is fit for Web3. It's just, it doesn't make sense to always fit NFTs or tokens into any game model. Like, it's just not going to work. But there are some games that naturally, myself, I'm an Escape from Tarkov player. I got to say, it's an economy that is very well suited and complex enough that, in my opinion, if they did introduce something like Web3 elements, NFTs, tokens, it would probably perform relatively well because the economy itself is so fleshed out. It makes so much sense. It's circular and it has a significant amount of utility that this would actually apply value, tangible value, to things that would be tokenized in the ecosystem. I love that. Gaspo, did I give you enough time to check your mic? Are you solid now? Is it working?
See if this is better, because this is my actual stream.
Oh my god, what is that? You're whispering in my ear now.
hopefully we're all good. But yeah, that was the end of my point anyway.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, and this is where botting and multi-accounting will come into it, because I have played MMOs where people do have limited skill points, so you could only be one thing. So you had to work as a team, and I think that's what's needed. If I can multi-account, I don't need any of you guys. I don't need to trade. I kind of break the full thing, and I think multi-accounting and botting is something that all the big games are already worried about. And I think when there's a financial kind of element to it, it'll be even more distracting for people, and something that projects will have to spend loads on, even though it's not their core game.
So I'm assuming then you were not one of the people complaining that you couldn't solo big time. You enjoyed the fact that you needed multiple people to make that game work.
Yeah, because I don't know, it's not an MMO if it's just a single player. It's an SO maybe. I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
RPG.
No, I feel you. RPG. There you go. Oh, yeah, I'm such a cyberpunk fan, so I love that. Coop, we haven't heard from you yet. What do you got to say on this? I know you're the man who's running the infrastructure layer here, but I know you played a lot of games and you have a lot of opinions. So would love to hear your feedback on this. What do you think about monetization in Web3? Does it make sense? Does it not? Any good examples you've seen? Maybe some projects you want to shout out? You like the way they work?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything that I could say stands out just yet as the golden ticket for an economy, as we try to do. It's crazy to see how many people are afraid of Web3, and it's not because of the sentiment of there being Ponzi schemes. It's not because of them being crappy games. It's actually because to develop a free economy is not easy. And for me, when I talk about free economies, what we're really doing here is we're allowing a new player, which I call monsters in a good way, to come influence an economy. They can just wipe the floor and drive up the price. They can market make. They can, do $35 billion in transactions on Axie Infinity in 2021. It's pretty crazy. And that's an amazing thing about this entire space. But at the same time, going back to game designers, they're like, well, I don't have control over my economy anymore. I no longer can print cool skins and sell them for $20 a pop. I no longer can put them in loot boxes because it does affect the market of speculation. So it's, I find it to be one of the coolest problems in the game industry today. And that's just the thing that somebody's going to develop a solution and everybody's going to copy it. And then we might spur around after that. For free to play, that was really big with in-app purchases, and that was really big with ads as two major revenue sources that came when people laughed oh, you're putting out a free game and you think you can make millions. That was a thing back in the day. I know people mention it, but it was really a thing. When Unity said that they're going to give their engine away for free back in the day, they're like, what? They're going to die. Are they giving up? No, this is very interesting, world that we're about to go into, and we're going into now. We're already a few years in experimenting, but soon we'll find out, what works, what doesn't. I think next year we're going to learn a lot, and we might have another whole cycle of a couple more years to actually crack it. So I'm a patient guy, fortunately.
Yeah, you're going to need to be in this space. I think all of us know that. I'm a bit of a boomer. Gaspode's I've been here for 20 months, and I'm like, damn. I've been here for 3 years. But then Peach is here, and I'm like, nice. I'm not the only one who was here before the Axie Infinity boom. So it feels good. But you really do have to be patient. And I think, I'm raising a puppy right now. And I got to say, one of the other things you got to do is you've also got to understand and you've got to curb your ego. You have to detemper yourself. There's going to be a lot of things in this space that create friction. They rub you the wrong way. They're challenging. I remember there's some games I've downloaded that just would not work. Last Remains was one of them in the beginning. And this is all challenges that we're dealing with that I think are as much an opportunity as they are a responsibility. So, shout out to anybody who is still here. But Coop, you mentioned something, and I actually would really like to hear people's opinion on this because, first off, it's one of my favorite styles, for better or for worse. I don't spend too much money on it, but gacha games. I think this is something everybody has understood is a huge interest point in gaming. And I don't even think it's only gacha games. I actually want to generalize this and get your guys' opinion on the gacha element in games and how it could or maybe could not be used in Web3. We're starting to see gacha in everything. If you guys have played the new Teamfight Tactics set that just released last week, you'd know that like four of the traits, literally have a gacha element to it that just prints you rewards, and people play them even if they suck because they just want to see the rewards print once they get 40 stacks. And I think that this is such a huge part of gaming now. Everyone loves it. Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, which is my preferred Genshin game. All these games are doing very well. Is this something you guys think could work in Web3? Do you think this is a vital component that is maybe missing in Web3? Or do you think that because of the way that open markets work and a lot of these gacha games really rely on single direction transactions, do you think it won't fit into Web3? I don't see any hands yet, but you know what? Maybe I'll throw it over to Erica. I haven't heard your voice in a while. Oh no, Gaspode. No, we're going Erica first. You give me too many opinions. I want your response. Erica, I want to hear your feedback on this, and then we'll go to Gaspode.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it can work for Web3. I mean, why not, right? It's still games. It just has that extra technical component. So I think that if it can work for games like Genshin Impact, I think that it can work for any Web3 game. And I think that it's definitely worth exploring. Love them or hate them. You know, I really don't mind them, but yeah, I think that it can definitely work.
I like that. Gaspode?
Yeah, I didn't want to throw my hand up and steal all the early comments, so thanks for going to Erica first. But I agree that I think that they work. I just think it needs a lot of clarity around it. Clearly gambling, like just obviously in my mind, which is fine. People like to gamble. Web3 loves a degen. I think what Web3 adds to it is the fact that not only will those percentages be kind of on contract, hopefully, and there'll be the fact that you can verify how rare the things in the boxes are. You'll know what the market expects each piece in that box to be valued at. So you'll be able to do an expected value calculation to see if buying that box is worth doing it or not, because you want that pull. Some people don't care about that. They just love numbers spinning around and getting something fancy, hoping they get lucky. And I think what people can actually sell having the boxes on Web3 as is maybe we don't want people who get too addicted playing these. Maybe giving them that option of buying what they need straight from the market rather than having to roll the dice to see if they win. Maybe that's actually a selling point for making them less of a negative, like they kind of get seen traditionally in gaming, because there is that option that someone doesn't even need to interact with these boxes. If they want specific cards, they can just go straight and buy them. But overall, I like the fact that randomness and the possibilities are public and transparent, because then that gives people the ability to decide whether they are gambling or whether they'd be better off just buying straight from the market.
Nice point. Sounds a little bit like Counter-Strike, if you ask me. I think there's a lot of people who come in and they make a full career on doing loot boxes. Others not so much. Picha, take it away.
I find it something that would give more chance for games that were like that have this feature added to the game, because we're talking about games that didn't have gacha before, and a lot of the gamers, especially in my communities, they're more interested in, I mean, this might be like the cultural thing, particularly in Asia, that they're more compelled to try games that have gacha. Maybe it's the thing that's transferred from Web 2 games. And like just to reflect on what was mentioned earlier, I think like pity system is kind of cool. Like when you roll how many times and it gives you more chance, right? So I mean, like there's so many elements added to it, but for me personally, I find it very addictive. And if you get too many items, for example, like giving the players the chance to upgrade it for something else is also something that kind of keep them within the game as well. So I think like more possibilities, and I think it's kind of cool that more games are looking into this element. That's just my take.
Yeah, addiction is definitely on this one. I think a lot of games like to do it though. If you think about gamification, it's usually got a random element to it. Critical hits. You've got accuracy in video games, potentially not always hitting your crosshair. There's so many things that are just random, right? RNG. So I like those takes on it. I don't know how many of you have explored maybe non-Web3 gaming NFTs, like back in the day during the NFT bull run in 2021, 2022. I think that the gambling and the gotcha aspect of buying NFTs or minting them and then revealing them was such a significant part of the space, right? I think a lot of my friends, for better or for worse, actually showed a lot of signs of gambling addiction, but they just called themselves NFT traders. I didn't know if there was a difference. I didn't know how to really take that for a bit, but some of them made money, some of them not so much. We'll see. But I do know that it is a very big part of Web3. And I think one thing Gaspode mentioned, and maybe Coop, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this because you're a very technical guy. He said that a value point here is that we could potentially put everything on contract, make it publicly verifiable. This element of the house always wins could potentially be something that maybe starts to transition into something a little bit more fair because everything can be verified publicly. I don't know. That really got me thinking. Any thoughts on that, Coop? What do you think? Or just in gotcha in general? I know you're a fan of gotcha as well.
I mean, I wouldn't call myself a fan of gotcha. I mean, I personally don't.
Hey, you made mobile games.
I don't, mobile games, but yeah, then I left. So, and, I mean, gotcha is like, just to give you guys an idea, mobile games made them, and it was a way to make a career and money in the game industry. Because if I wanted to make the games that I love, like another Counter-Strike or another StarCraft or another, name my favorite games, I mean, the teams and the effort and the blood and the sweat and the years that go behind that, and me as the lowly, person that was programming at, a young age, couldn't even imagine such a project. So mobile games, new foundation, new era, started off without gotcha. One of the first things it was to buy skins. And, very similar. League of Legends is a perfect example, right? They wanted to not have any utility or cosmetics. They wanted to be able to decide that, you have a new look and people would hopefully buy that. When they launched the game, they proved it right away. People started wanting their own looks and their own styles, and that started supporting the game. And that was the beginning of the non-gotcha era of free-to-play. But what happened is that people found out that if you, instead of giving something guaranteed for $20 and you give it to them for $2, and they hopefully roll and maybe they get it within 4 or they get it within 100, you make more money. And there's also a bit of a dopamine hit that comes with that. So yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with gotcha. In terms of just to kind of talk about economics just for a moment, I think we were touching on it earlier that if you have a gotcha element where people are printing out the shirt, for example, and I can pay $2 to have a chance to get this, or I could just go straight to go buy it for $5 on a marketplace, I'm probably going to go get it for $5 on a marketplace versus a chance to get it. So there's a bit of a competing, element here that can't really coexist. But if you have two different economies, such as certs are from gotcha, and my headband is from, I got to go fight and earn it, and that's allowed to go into a marketplace, for example, that could work, right? So again, it's just economics and economies that are being designed. The most interesting thought I had the other night that I was saying during the playtest was it would be very interesting if communities could pool gotcha pools. So it's like NFT liquidity where everybody puts in their extra NFTs on chain into a pool and people buy to randomly grab an NFT out of that pool and the money is going to the users. So those are like the ideas that I'd be very interested to explore and experiment with in this space.
I remember that you said you were dreaming about that, and I was like, that's actually a very interesting, though beyond me to make work idea, but it sounds really, really awesome. I like that you mentioned something though, Coop, and I actually think it's really, really nice. It's one of the things that I think makes gotcha potentially better, maybe more healthy, is the fact that if you did have a gotcha ecosystem that was competing internally with its own open market, you might actually see something be a little bit more fairly distributed. You might have to have new mechanics. Maybe you do need to trail out and make the gacha potentially more complex, more difficult, make rare things significantly more rare. But if you are competing against an open market, I think you're going to have this situation, assuming you have the right syncs, where you could potentially have people make a decision. And just like Pichapen mentioned, not have to go through the process of the addiction, the gambling, the dopamine, but just go and get what they want and be able to pay for it, maybe pay a premium or potentially pay less depending on how lucky they were, right? I think this is really cool. I actually like it. I think it could be a potential way that Web3 comes to solve currently a predatory element of gaming right now, because I do think that gacha has gotten a little out of hand. I was recently looking at the Chinese TFT the other day, and I was just seeing that on any given time they have like 4 or 5 different randomized chibi little legends being rolled for in TFT, and I'm like, this is wild. All of it's bringing in insane money, but they're doing it right because it's monetizing. But let's keep going. I don't want to get too caught up on that. If anybody has any final thoughts, feel free to throw your hand up, or anything I mentioned in the meantime. I definitely love to hear your thoughts. But I actually want to talk a little bit more about some of the things and this would be great for you, Kooks. I know you love this, maybe everyone else not as much because you might not be devs, but I want to talk a little bit more on the developing side. We mentioned, and this was brought up, that monetizing is not easy in Web3, right? We currently have not cracked a model, but I think a lot of people are curious about how this potentially can be done. So, I heard battle passes mentioned, traditional skins, like skin sales were mentioned, maybe even having a player own and run economy, taking marketplace fees of that. Who knows what it is? But I want to ask you guys, when it comes to developers, maybe from your experience or some of the things that you see, how do you think a developer or a game should best look at monetizing in Web3? Is it possible? Do they just do a huge VC run, try and, TGE out a token when the market is right for it, and just bring in enough money to justify the effort put into it? Do you think that there's a way that they could develop an economy, take fees? Like, I really just want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. When it comes to monetizing, we've talked about the problems, but now let's talk about the solutions. What should developers do?
I saw you move.
Gaspode, Erica, take it away.
But I'll go first real quick for a change. So I think developers need to experiment with NFTs that do not live forever, which is what we're doing Last Remains in a biased sense. I also think we all just need education for the world, and just all games have a lifetime and a shelf life. So even though we say that maybe nothing has made it yet, Axie Infinity did make billions of dollars, if I'm not mistaken, and a lot of that's on chain proof. So just like any game, there's a peak of success, and then it slowly churns out. Actually, Fortnite is a very good example of a game that just hit an all-time record recently again. But they were actually trending downward for a long time, and they were worried about it, to the point I'm not sure how much that downward trend as we keep going forward.
Yeah, ephemeral assets, very big thing. They work good for stories. Erica, would love to hear your thoughts. Take it away.
Yeah, definitely. I think to bring it back to like the very basic level, and something that Coop was talking about earlier, it kind of goes back to like user acquisition, right? Games can't make money if nobody is playing them. And so it's really hard. There's thousands of games on Steam that just don't even see the light of day, and it's really, really sad. And so that's where I think that platforms like Earn Alliance, they're really important because it helps people to see the games that are available. And so if I were building a game, I would definitely try to partner up with some of these aggregators, like Earn Alliance. There's like Elixir. There's tons of different platforms coming out, and so I think that's really smart on their part to try to get into one of those platforms.
As somebody who started my journey as a guild leader in Axie Infinity, I can tell you player liquidity is a hot commodity these days. Gaspode, take it away.
So a couple of points to nail on to. I think the idea of things needing either to be consumable or durability is kind of key to continue adding money into the ecosystem. Players really hate it, so it's hard to put in. I was listening to a podcast recently where someone was discussing the idea of laddering. So every time an NFT is sold, the tax rate increases. So eventually it's not that it loses its durability in the game, but you're buying something that you can't sell without paying more tax. And eventually they said it hits 100%. So you could trade it and all of the money goes back to the studio, which I think is an interesting way of handling the durability. I think that, touching on the point, and I was actually talking about this in a Discord this morning, all games have a life cycle and will eventually die. It doesn't matter that the NFTs live forever. If the game's dead, meh. So I think studio kind of NFTs are a good way for studios to get a core group together that they can take from game to game. Obviously, you only really buy that once, so it's not a great way of funding it unless it starts off quite high in terms of price. But at least then, like Erica mentioned, you can't monetize a game that doesn't have any players. So if you've got a key group of people who are following you as a studio because they've got a studio asset, I think that'll be a good kind of starting point. And then beyond that, I think some people in Web3 need to first off understand how a business works. And then secondly, look at how Web2 games businesses work and how they've monetized in the past, because a lot of them are trying to reinvent the wheel without ever seeing what a wheel looks like.
That was a very hot topic for a while, when the DGens started to actually learn how to not DGen and create a business. I think that's a very big thing. I love that studio NFT idea. I think that would be fantastic. I couldn't imagine how valuable my, early Riot NFT would be when I was playing it in like beta. That would have been fantastic. But again, who knows, right? I think that's a really good idea. Maybe something to consider, Coop. Got the gears moving in your head, I'm sure.
I'm just like, I don't think I could speak anymore.
Pichapen, anything you wanna throw in on this topic? I know you've been in the space for a while. Anything maybe you've seen from a different vertical, maybe traditional tokens, crypto, L1s, L2s, DeFi, anything that comes over that you think could help benefit monetizing for Web3 games?
I think like there's a few things like I think like just to reflect on what everyone's also said as well, like and also like for Web2 guilds that I'm working with, they all think that for Web3 games, right? I think like it's not been like the concept is so new that like there's so many things to learn and to experiment that there's lack of, I guess, like the right recipes. And I think that is why we're seeing like so many things that are happening in the space right now. It's not like so sustainable. But what I'm so excited about is, for example, like just talking about the trend that might be interesting in the future is the AI integrated into games, because that's opened up so many possibilities. And just coming back from the YGG Web3 Game Summit and talk to Parallel, for example, I think that like having new genre is like so exciting as well. And that could be like another way for us to look at it as a sustainable way for games, because it can keep on and having so many new involvements. But to answer your questions about the common problem for games, for example, I think like so many ideas and just so many ideas and a lot of experiments, but nothing's really work for now because it's just so new and so many. I think like there's just this limited number of players, right? You can't just have like the same set of players playing like hundreds and thousands games at the same time. So I mean, like it's gonna be short-lived because people are just gonna go with where the money goes right now. So so I mean, it would be interesting for me to see what happens next year as well, when all like thousands of games getting released and where will be the next trend.
Yeah, players are such a fundamental part of this. When the interest is not there, it doesn't matter if it's Web 3 or Web 2, the game is not going to succeed. I know we're getting close to our hour here. We were a little bit late, but I think one of the things I would really like to just hear from you guys, because it's more of an exciting thing, is I would love to hear more about what you guys are actually looking forward to in 2024. So I know we got a few points that obviously can be brought up on this, but I think more than anything is just your general opinion, whether it be a game, whether it be maybe a certain type of technology or genre being introduced into the space. I really want to get a round robin of what everybody's most looking forward to and why you're looking forward to it, not just what it is, but what exactly it is about it that gets you excited. So maybe we can start it from the top here. And Coop, we'll get you to go last because you're the founder here. You can wait, but Erica, would love to go to you first, and then maybe we can move through Erica, Gaspode, Pichapen, and then Coop, you can take it away after me. So Erica, would love to hear what you're looking forward to most in 2024, and maybe your favorite game too. If it's not a game, I want to hear what game you're looking forward to playing most.
Yeah, definitely. So probably the game that's been on my radar for the longest, I would say that I've been really excited about is Illuvium. I think that I probably share that same sentiment with a lot of people. What they're doing is just really innovative. Aside from the game mechanics, it looks very, very good. They put a lot of time into it. So, and they actually, I think tomorrow is when they go live on Epic, which is, pretty exciting with their PvP. So that's probably I'm most excited about. The other thing that I'm really excited about is I think that and I'm really hoping that in 2024, we get that game that everybody has been waiting for, where it's like it puts Web3 on the map, where people are no longer saying like there's no good games in Web3, which, as you were saying, like just as we started, there's so many games in Web3. You just have to look. Like on my list, I have over 1,000 Web3 games, like so many I can't even keep track of them, right? So I think it's finding that diamond in the rough. That's going to have had some time to develop, because games take time to build, and so we're still early, we're still pretty new, and so we'll see a lot of that come to fruition, where games are actually being released and people can play them, and hopefully they aren't like token gated. I really like the fact that games are free to play and they don't have that barrier. So I'm just excited for more of the evolution of the space, and yeah, that's the thing that I'm most excited about, I would say.
I'm very excited for Illuvium too. I'm a huge auto chess fan. Me and Coop, we pretty much bond on our TFT addictions. You should have seen us in Token 2049. We'd head back to the hotel playing double up, somehow winning. I don't know how we won that game, Coop, but anyway. Really looking forward to Illuvium as well.
You gave up, man. I just had to keep pushing you.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe we did it. We did it for sure. But really looking forward to it. Definitely am. Good shout. Gaspode, I know you have a very critical outlook a lot of the times, but I know you definitely have some good games on your radar. What are you looking forward to in 2024?
I'm looking forward to some of the bigger, more complex games hitting that point in their development cycle where we can actually start playing it. Looking forward to adding more games to the ones that I've already covered, maybe the next 100, 200 into the year. Current favourite game is, after I've just said about looking forward to games with depth, is Rumble Arcade, which is an auto battler. Strongly recommend it to everyone. I play it all the time. Somehow manage to bring it up in every space. Big fan. But in general, looking forward to all the new games coming out. Obviously, looking forward to playing Lost Remains and seeing what Earn Alliance do.
I love it.
It was subtle. It was solid.
It was subtle, but it worked. I really am looking forward to getting you to play Last Remains. I actually think there's so many people who I want to play it that I've just been waiting till we have a good game for them to play, because Last Remains, it's been in this refinement phase, but it's getting good, guys. Pichapen, would love to hear what you're looking forward to most.
Yeah, like Erica said, I can't even keep tracks of all the games releasing in Q1 or the rest of next year. I think what would be really exciting is to see things back, the whole industry or the whole ecosystem coming back again. We see guilds as well, becoming more active. And because I just came back from YGG Web3 Game Summit. So it's like so vibrant, the community, and especially like going to the Philippines where, like all the games adoptions are also from there. So I think like we're talking about next year is also like, what's going to be the next narrative. And I always see Web3 gaming being the next narrative. I think like, having games that are fun to play, releasing next year is going to attract more attention and bring more people in the space. And having the free to play option is also helping a lot. And also like, the fact that guilds are becoming more active now because there's more options. Like I think like the guilds went hibernated a little bit because the lack of options in the space and, like all the things that we learned also in the last cycle. Guilds are now like having different like specializations in different things and, like, or even some guilds that are formed specifically for games, right? So there's going to be like new jobs, new opportunities for people to engage with games in different ways. So I think it stretched the lifespan of games longer. Also like, I mean, like all the different kind of experiments I mentioned earlier about the AI being integrated into games, actually had mentioned this in the space like 5 months ago. So seeing more interest in the space is it's really, really cool, isn't it? Like, because you see how viral it got after ChatGPT released last year. Now everything is like AI, everything. So I mean, I think like for me, that's really, really exciting. My prediction for the space is still like, Web3 gaming being the next narrative. I mean, fingers crossed, we're also enthusiastic and passionate about the space as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I re-downloaded Photoshop, the first thing it put me through as I was learning Photoshop was, here's how you use AI in Photoshop. I'm like, whoa, okay, we've come quite a ways. I like this. But yeah, great points, Pichapen. I love it. Coop, would love to hear what you're looking most forward to in 2024. I'm sure there's a lot. And if there's anything exciting you want to drop alpha-wise, take the stage. I want to hear it.
Yeah, I don't know how much alpha to drop today, but I think we're just excited for games to go live. And the reason why is that when Earn Alliance started, we asked ourselves, what could we do to help this industry? Like, what is there to do? Because, Axie Infinity got hacked at the time. Then Luna, then FTX was like where we started looking to build. And at that time, we were doing like management tools to understand NFT assets and like, see like how are players using them. And also this whole play to earn, movement is where we like dove into. Not saying that we want that to come back, but I think when games are live and there's like vibrant communities in multiple games, that then starts to push the boundaries of like, okay, what's working, what's not working. So I'm very interested to see that engine, come back because we got to see some signal in 2021, and I want to see more signal as we keep going. I'm also looking forward for like Apple Play or Apple Store, hopefully like opening up their NFT, rules a little better. I did write an article on that, so check it out if you haven't seen it. But once they open that up a bit more, I think distribution has really been solved for games and NFT games, because that's actually one of the hardest problems, user acquisition and being able to get it to billions of devices. And as much as I'm not a huge fan of mobile games, personally, it's a way to at least get adoption and get people to explore this space. So it's a great stepping stone. I don't know. I can talk on for like 10 hours and like all the things, that I'm looking and thinking about. But yeah, more games, more fun, and more adoption and more innovation.
Yeah, I think it's not a surprise that mobile gaming, and once it really takes off, will have a very, very big impact on the space. So I agree with that. Although I'm not a big mobile game fan either, I still think it's very important. All right, last but not least, what I'm looking forward to, and then everyone can say their goodbyes and we will finish up the space for now. But I am a hardcore extraction shooter player, and I am very much looking forward to playing Official Dead Drop when it's fully done, as well as Shrapnel. I've been seeing all of the leaks from Shrapnel. I know that the engine's absolutely cranked up right now. Cannot wait to play the game once I can get my hands on it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm sure it'll be difficult. Who knows? I hope it works well. I think it's a game that has a lot of opportunity. But for the space itself, I think what I'm most looking forward to is, as somebody who started as a content creator in the space, I'm really looking forward to the attention coming back, the opportunity, the connections, the growth, that feeling of life, that feeling of passion. I think that in the bear market, it was really diluted. It really put a lot on people's nerves to try and weather that and endure that storm, especially the people who are here, who've been talking about it, supporting it, making content on it, going to events. I'm feeling it. I know you're all feeling it too. Things are starting to drum up again, and it's very exciting. I hope that engagement and that attention comes back, because that is really what got me so into the space in the beginning. I want to see that, and I think that the next time it happens, it'll be even bigger. So that's what I'm most looking forward to, whether it's 2024 or beyond. I know it's ahead of us, so I'm looking forward to it very much. And with that, I think we're going to wrap it up, but I don't want to be the last voice you guys hear. I want to give everybody here a chance to say goodbye. And also, I want to make sure that you guys just let people know. We'll make sure to tag you underneath, but the best way to follow you as well. So, Erica, you can say your goodbyes, let people know the best way to follow you.
Yeah, thank you so much, everybody. It was really nice to talk with you, and especially to hear your insights. Absolutely love that. You guys can find me on X. It's at Babes Cryptoland, and then everywhere else, it's at Vivid Gaming GG. So thank you so much, and I really look forward to working with you all.
Thank you, Erica. Pichapen, where are people going to find you and follow you best?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me here. It's really, really insightful. I might not have a lot of takes in the developer side, more like a player, but it's really, really cool to, have these conversations, and especially that it's almost the end of the year, and also to hear all the updates that Earn Alliance have. I'm so excited to be playing Last Remains, although I shared with Coop earlier that I'm not a zombie person, so if we play together, I'll be running around screaming. But that might be
perfect
a good content. That might be a good content. So follow me at Pichapen on Twitter. My Twitch account is Totally Uninformed Gamer, and that's also where I'll be doing more content on games available on Earn Alliance. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Pichapen. It was a pleasure for both of you. And I know Gaspode dropped, but of course, you guys will make sure to tag him down below. Gaspode's really big on Twitter, so you can follow him. I believe it's Gaspode WD. We'll tag him down below, as well as I know he does a lot of content on What's Your Game. And myself, I'm Guru. You guys can follow me. You don't have to if you don't want to. But make sure that you're following Last Remains and Earn Alliance, because these are the guys making it happen. And Last Remains is the baby that I am putting most of my focus on, with, of course, Coop here. And Coop, I'll let you drop your tags if you want, but you guys know Coop. You can follow him at Coding Coop on Twitter, or just follow Earn Alliance and Last Remains. It's enough of his baby. You'll see him around here. Coop, you can finalize to say goodbye, and then Ryan, we'll wrap it up after this. Go to the ending screen and mute everything.
Awesome. Yeah, not much to add. Super stoked to do this format for the first time. Hopefully everyone liked it. Let us know. Give us some feedback as we're listening. Coding Coop, Earn Alliance, Play Last Remains. I think Erica had it right. It's X now, and everybody's still in Twitter land. But yeah, it's on X. And yeah, looking forward to next year and building stuff together.
All right, everyone. Take care. Until next time. Bye-bye.